one more minute, everyone. Thank you for your patience. So while we are waiting to get started there, everyone, I'm just going to recommend that maybe you have a notepad with you. I know last week I was like, we're going to get pretty advanced, and some of you that might be more versed in Facebook might have been like, well, this is easy stuff. But this week we are going to get into some quite complicated processes, because I'm showing you all about advertising, which usually a lot of people like pay other people to do it. But I want to show you how you can do it yourself, because it's actually quite easy if you have someone that shows you. But it's intricate. So make sure you have a notepad so you can take notes and follow along, and write down questions that you can ask me at the end. And okay, just waiting for these 3 last people to get in, and then we're going to get started. So. All right. Okay, no one's waiting to get in. We're all good to go. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alex Nye, and I'm a digital marketer. I work with Sidekicks, and I specialize on all things social media for real estate. It's my day job. I dream about it. It's pretty much all I do. So some of you, maybe not all, but some of you have been in my seminars before. This is now the 3rd one that I'm doing. If you remember, I did one back last September, I believe. And then we had a follow-up last week. So both of those seminars were more about how you can just familiarize yourself with the software, going into Facebook, how you can post, in the strategy that you should be running, the strategy that works as real estate. And maybe I'll touch on that a little bit as I go through the ads. But as I mentioned, all of those things, the unpaid portions of Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all that, it's all organic growth, right? So organic in the sense where you can't pay someone to grow your page. Your page literally grows based off of the content and the activity that you put into it, right? So something that's important to understand is that in terms of lead generation, okay, organic growth for Facebook and Instagram, what I just explained, isn't really a thing. Obviously, the end goal is always to get leads and always to get business. But as I mentioned, if you remember, building a Facebook, like a digital ecosystem around your brand on social media, is all about brand awareness, brand engagement, and developing your network, which you can then develop into leads, right? And you do that by engaging with people, liking their content, but also making sure that you're putting out content that you think is relative to them, stuff that they might be interested in, right? So that's all organic. But why don't we just compartmentalize that for a second? Because what I'm talking to you about today is all about lead generation, hard lead generation through Facebook and Instagram. So it's not just going to be that, because I'm going to explain how advertising is a mix, like so much other types of marketing. And if you just target one thing, you want to make sure that you're hitting all of the different boxes. So anyways, with that, let's just dive into it. I don't want to confuse you without showing you what I'm talking about. So if you look at my screen here, let me just move this out of the way. All right, so this is my normal Facebook. Now I'm in my brother's Facebook account right now. He's also a real estate agent, but I'm just going to use his account for kind of like a benchmark, so you can kind of see what's going on, and then we'll create some ads together. So the first thing that you need to know is that for ads, you should never, ever, ever, ever be creating ads in this form of Facebook. Okay, you actually have to go to a different website. And the reason why is because this is where it's more kind of do it yourself, which I'm aware is what you will be doing, but it's very simplified, and you miss out on a lot of really good features that you get if you go through the proper ad systems. So hold on, let me just make sure that there's nobody waiting to get in. Yeah, we have a few. Sorry about that. Multitasking. So in here, this is where you're going to be posting and stuff to Facebook, but I just want to accent that this is not where you post ads. So I'm going to go to a separate page here and I'm just going to search Facebook ad manager. Okay, and you're going to see this come up, Facebook ads manager in Facebook. So I'm going to click on this and it's going to come to this page here where it's going to say, go to ads manager. Now, keep in mind, if you've never done this before, this button is going to say, create a business suite or create an ad account. It is very straightforward. I'm not even going to waste time going through it because it's very straightforward. And again, if you're lost on it, give me a call. I'll throw my number and my email address down there again towards the end of the presentation. So we're just going to click on this button and this is the page that you're going to see come up. So you're usually only going to see one account unless you're managing like multiple different pages. Like if you have like a Facebook page that's specializing on downsizers, and then you have another one that's like a general real estate page. Like I have some clients that do this. And if that's the case, then you might see multiple accounts here, but normally it's going to be pretty straightforward. So we click on Brent's name, which will be your name when you're going into your account, and you're going to go into the analytics screen. So really quickly, I can show you, this is the main reason why I use this instead of the other one, because as I go right, we can take a look and it shows you very advanced. Now, mind you, there's no information here because I've privatized everything for liability reasons. But usually if you're running active ads, it will show you what your reach is. It will compare it to previous ads. Okay, your impressions, which I'm going to explain in a second. It basically shows you all of the analytics that you need to know to determine if your ads are working or not. And then if they're not working, then you can try different things, which I'm going to get into. So let's go through these one by one, and I'm going to tell you what each of them mean, and then we'll go into the next step. So let me just check. Nobody's waiting again. 7 people entered. Wow. Okay. Sorry about this, everybody. Just patience, please. Okay. So the first thing here is the bid strategy. So the bid strategy is, it's always pretty much going to say this. The other bid strategies, you don't really need to worry about them because they're product-based bidding. So they're for people that are selling like hair products and stuff like that. So I'm just going to go right over that. Don't worry about this category. It will automatically go to the one that it needs to be for real estate. Okay, your budget, this will basically just says that it will tell you when the ad is actually active. It will tell you what your daily budget is. It's just a good reference when you're looking at all of your ads in one place. You can see what your daily spending is. Okay, and it will also tell you the start date and the end date on it. Now, you don't see this here because I don't have any live ads on this account, but it will be right next to here and it will say start date and it will tell you your daily budget. And then as we keep going down, so attribution setting, again, this is something that I leave Facebook to determine, but attribution setting is basically, it has to do with retargeting. And if you remember what I talked about in previous webinars with you, the touch points in real estate, as in whenever your brand, your specific real estate brand, not Zolo, but like, you know, Maria Bafulci, like, or whoever the specific agent is, whenever your brand comes in contact with a potential customer, we call that in marketing a touch point. Now we know that, we know basically that in order for people to even consider you as a brand, the average number that gets thrown around is about 7. So 7 times that your brand needs to come in contact with someone across multiple marketing avenues. So it's not just social media or direct mail, but collectively. So what the attribution setting is it's basically, it allows you to retarget if it's something that you want people to see high frequency of. So you want the same person to see it multiple times, for example, and register those touch points, then you go to a 7-day click or a 1-day view. And the shorter that this number is going to be, the more that Facebook is going to try to repeat show your ads to certain people. So you might ask, okay, well, you've kind of explained it, but give me a situation where this is good. No problem. So I won't lie to you. If you're going in large density areas like Toronto proper, this strategy won't be as effective because there's so many people, and the targeting in ads for real estate, they no longer allow you to target as specifically as you used to. but this strategy is very, very useful if you are working in any of the outlying neighborhoods in Toronto. So if you're selling in Vaughan, Oakville, even Scarborough, Pickering, you can put your block down, and because there's less population in those areas, there's more chance that you're going to be getting repeat impressions. All right, and which I'll get into right now. So reach is literally, it's the unique number of people that have seen your ad. They just seen it. They don't have to do anything. And the important thing to understand is the word unique. So what I mean by that is one person can't be counted twice. And that's where impressions come in. So impressions are not unique. It just counts. If somebody saw it, it will mark it as one. So you can totally have situations, which are good situations, where you might have 5,000 reach. So 5,000 individual people saw it, but your impressions were 7,500. That means that now we can't absolutely deduct that, half of the people saw it twice, but we can deduct that there was a significant number of people that were seeing it multiple times. And again, when you have an ad that is live and active, there's another little category here that says frequency. Okay, and the frequency will tell you on average, the average person that saw your ad, how many times did they see it? So what you want is you want to be getting up to the 1.4, 1.5, that type of frequency, because it means that, a large amount of people are seeing your ad more than once, which is what you want, right? So let me just check, make sure nobody's waiting to get in. There's more people waiting. Okay, so keep moving along down this line. So reach, individual, unique. Impressions is overall, it can double count people. Okay, so cost per result. This is really, really important, because this is how you're going to be able to compare your one ad to the next ad to the next ad, and you're going to be able to tell if you're doing something wrong or right, just based off of the numbers. So cost per result, there's, I believe, 8 different results, which I'm going to go into in a moment here. But you can see there's a few different here. So Facebook lead, page like, but there's different things that you can measure. All right. In marketing, we call them KPIs, key performance indicators. Okay. And they're different, basically everything from engagement to how many people are visiting your website. We can target a different thing, and Facebook will rank our ad based off of what we select. Like that's how it basically determines if it was successful or not. So for an example, if we are targeting our ad for people to go to our website, it's not going to show you information on link clicks, for example. So this is important to determine what it is that you actually want to do and how you want to measure it. Okay. Waiting room again. All right. So moving on, amount spent is pretty straightforward. So this amount spent is going to it's going to mark your lifetime budget for the campaign. So from the time that the campaign started to however long in the future, it's going to mark how long that you actually spent on this campaign. And then the end date tells you when the end date is. So this is really important too, because I can't tell you how many times I've heard stories about someone who put an ongoing end date. So they created an ad without an actual date, and then they forgot about it, and they came back and they had a $2,000 bill or something astronomical. So this end date, put a little mental note. I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to go into the ad construction, but this is very important to make sure that you keep an eye on this and that you're monitoring your ads. Because if you put it on ongoing and you walk away from it, it will do exactly that. And it will continue to push up, and it will continue to charge you despite whatever you're trying to do. So just keep that in mind. So that's the basic analytics. And for the sake of time, when I'm not going to show you this, but when you do get ads running, you can actually click on these specific categories, and it will open up a more intricate analytics wheel that will show you exactly what's going on in your ad. And if I can be brief with this, I mean, we're at 12:15 right now, then maybe I can actually show you a little bit towards the end, but no promises, because the important stuff. So waiting room. Okay, here we go. So here's the first step. This is what we're going to do, is we're going to create a campaign together. Okay, so as you notice, there's 3 tabs here. Okay, you always, whenever you're creating a new campaign, you want to make sure that you're on the campaign tab. If I'm on the ad set campaign, I will create a new ad set. But if you look, this campaign is selected, so it will automatically create the ad set with all of the rules that I have under this campaign, which isn't necessarily a good thing. If you're trying to do different things, sometimes you need to make a new campaign. So let's do that. You create in the top left there. This is what I was talking about. Someone has their mic unmuted. If they can just mute their mic, I'd appreciate it. Mirna, I believe. Okay, so if you notice here, there's all sorts of different things that now we can target. So many of you, your eyes are probably going to this lead generation right off the bat. And I have to say, yes, you're on the right path, but please do not disregard the rest of these, because every single one of these serves very important functions for your business, which I'm going to go over right now. So the first one is brand awareness and reach. So these two are similar. They're both under the awareness category. The main difference is that if you have a message that you just want to get out to the maximum number of people and you don't care so much about whatever, you're just trying to get those touch points and you think you have something good to say, then we're going to click reach. Okay, reach is all about numbers. It's just sheer numbers. Okay, but brand awareness is where the Facebook computer, the algorithm that runs Facebook and Instagram, will actually do its to its best ability, it will try and accomplish the reach, get you the numbers, but it will try and put it in front of people that they think are more suitable to your business. So obviously, anytime that you specify or make it more specific in this ad system, your return on your ads are going to go down. So you're going to pay a little bit more. Every single thing that you add into targeting, it's going to lower your reach a little bit, which is going to rise your price for your individual impressions. Now, keep in mind, I'm talking like 0.0001% of a cent or something in some of these cases, but it does add up to a few extra bucks here or there if you're reaching like 20,000 reach and stuff, which I'm going to show you how to do. So these are the first two. It's all about brand awareness. Who's my brand? What do we offer? Let's just get in front of people. And it's very valuable. Please do not discredit this, because I'm going to tell you, but the lead generation ads, they work best when they're paired with other types of ads. So other types of ads, consideration. So all about consideration of your brand, considering to use you. This is part of the sales funnel. Okay, so traffic is all about sending people to your website. I have a couple clients, when they post a new listing, they always do a virtual tour. And in our advertisements that we do for that listing, we send people, check out the virtual tour, and we send them right to the virtual tour, especially with COVID, where they can sit there and they can walk through the house and they can see the house, without having to, risk themselves and be there. So something like that has been very successful. And there's a lot of views and a lot of people that are clicking on that link and going into it. So that's website traffic. But another example is if you have something on your website, like neighborhood reports or blogs or something special that you think that people want to see, send them there. Talk about it in your ad and send them there. Now, keep in mind, if your website is a cookie cutter website and you don't have anything there that you think is going to make you stand out, all right, that's not a problem. All right, that's actually becoming a lot more common in real estate. But keep in mind that you probably don't want to send people there for a paid targeted ad, because you're always trying to stand out. So value is the bottom line. And you have to figure out what type of value is going to make people want to click, right? So engagement is liking, commenting. Yeah, that's pretty much liking, commenting, sharing, saving the post. So this is also, how do I explain this? So there's two parts to this. So we can do an actual engagement ad, or we can boost a post. So I'm not sure if many of you know about boosting posts, but it's in a separate area, which I'm going to show you in the ads. But boosting posts are normally engagement related. That's usually why you boost a post. So if you ever have in your mind, like, I want to boost a post because I want to get leads for this property I've listed, or something like that, no, you're thinking about it wrong. The best way to do it is to create an actual ad with that post, rewrite your copy, even if it's the same copy, but it will perform better in Facebook systems if you're trying to go through lead generation. Okay, or one of these other things. All right, just keep in mind that boosting content is good for engagement. It's good for getting page likes, follows, people commenting. It helps your algorithm, right? Okay, so app installs are not really relevant for us, so I'm not even going to talk about it. Video views are though, so we'll spend a few minutes on this. So video views, basically same situation. If you have a listing and you want people to see this listing video and you want to get in front of a lot of people, then you select video views. And what Facebook and Instagram will do is they'll put your content in front of people that they think are most likely to actually watch your video. Okay, so I mean, remember that the computer that runs all this is incredibly intelligent. So sometimes it's actually good to piggyback on the computer a little bit, for video views for certain things if you're trying to accomplish something. Because you will notice this if you follow everything I say, but when you post a video on an ad, you're going to be seeing probably anywhere between a 20 to a 30% full watch ratio, which basically means if you post like a 25-second video, only 20 to 30% of the people are actually going to watch the whole video. But if you think you have something really good to say and you have this amazing property you want people to see and you think it's going to generate interest, click video views. That number will go up by 15 to 20%, and you'll start getting, you know, some engagement from it and some interest. All right. I've had clients that have done this and it works like a charm for listings. Keep in mind your overall reach. Okay. What I was talking to you about over here, the reach will go down. All right. Whenever you do video views, lead engagement, lead generation, engagement, any of these things, you're going to have lower reach than you will over here. Okay. So it's a bit of a trade-off, right? You pay a bit more, but the quality of people that are going to be watching your ads is going to be different, right? Okay. So let's keep moving down. Video views, we got it. So lead generation. I'm going to hold off on this because this is going to be the example that I'm going to do with you. And I'm just going to do messages quickly. So messages are another form of lead generation, but they're a little bit more labor intensive because statistics like undisputably show that people are a lot more likely to message a business on Facebook than they are to pick up the phone and call them. It was something like 90% more likely. So like way more likely to do that. But keep in mind, if you put a message video, if you put something out with a message, you're going to get a lot of spam. You're going to get a lot of people that are just like, blah, blah, blah. But leads do come in through this and people will message you about interest. Okay. Again, it's dependent on what it is that you're saying or what you're offering. If you sit there and be like, hey, Alex Nye here, I'm here to sell or buy your house, nobody's going to click on your ad. Nobody's going to click on your ad because there's nothing that I just said that's setting me apart from anyone else. You know, that would just kind of be like a low-hanging fruit strategy, which is a thing, but I mean, it's not even a good low-hanging fruit strategy because you literally have nothing differentiating you or making the client want to come to me. But if I said, Alex Nye from a prominent real estate family, working, living, and selling homes in Lawrence Park for 15 years, platinum, you know, like you bring it up, you know, talk about your accomplishments, what sets you apart, or use humor, or, you know, find a way to differentiate yourself. And you see the difference, you know, the difference between A and B, it's like, it's huge, right? So if you do something like that and you add a message box on it, people will message you. You can start forming these relationships with people, but you also will likely get people that will be like, hey, I'm looking for some real estate advice, which is exactly what you want because that's your moment to pounce and be like, oh, what can I help you with? Where are you thinking about buying? Where are you thinking about selling? And you can just start the conversation, right? So a lot of this is about getting that conversation started, and the messaging factor is the best way to do that. So I'm going to take a breath and a sip of coffee. All right, so lead generation, let's get into it. So I click lead generation, and all right, so this is the first thing that's going to come up. So it's going to give me an option to name my campaign. Please name your campaigns. If you follow my instruction and you start doing this, it's going to get really confusing in here if everything says new campaign like this, which is one I was doing for a trial this morning. it's going to get confusing because you're not going to know what you're targeting, blah, blah, blah. So the way that you name your campaigns is very important. So let's do it here together. So as you look, it kind of like it filters out. So the largest category is the campaigns. And then within a campaign, you can have multiple ad sets. And within each ad set, you can have multiple specific ads. So I just want to be clear, what users see on Facebook, what you see when you see ads is you see this, you see the individual specific ad. All right, you won't see the ad set, you won't see the campaign that it's under. That's just your knowledge to help you sort it and track the analytics. So let's do into it. So for this campaign, I'm going to call it March 2021 lead gen. Okay, create ad set. Oops, I'm actually not going to do that. I'm just going to call it March 2021 because you'll see here. Now I'm going to go lead gen. And for my first ad, I'm going to say lead gen 1. Now, if you're targeting different neighborhoods or different demographics or something like that, feel free to go lead gen Lawrence Park. I misspelt that, but like you can name it however you think is going to be relevant that you're going to remember it by. For me, I do so much of it that I just number them because it helps me just keep the order of where I'm at. So lead gen 1, we're going to hit continue. And so, let me just move this out of the way. Okay, so this is the page that we're now in. So if you look up top here, it shows the breakdown, just like I said. So it starts with the campaign, March 2021, the ad set, and then it starts, and then it shows you the ads. So we're literally going to work left to right, and we're going to go through each one and set it up. So follow along, take notes. So we've already named it. Next thing, special ad categories. So I mentioned that Facebook changed their marketing and their advertising laws. They do it all the time, but they did a really big change last fall where if you want to do an ad for real estate, you now need to make sure that this says on. They will not allow you to advertise. Trust me, I've tried every loophole. I've tried all sorts of different sneaky methods to try and get around it. Don't bother, you'll get your account banned and it's not worth it. So just run the special ad categories. So hit on, and in this drop down, click the drop down and you'll see the housing categories. So ads for property listings, home insurance, mortgages, or other related opportunities. So we have to click this. All right, so click that. Okay, this here, it will always say auction. Don't worry about this. There's no option out of it. Again, the next thing here, so this is just a reminder that you set a lead generation objective. So if we had done awareness or website traffic, like that's what it would say here. And it also gives you a chance, if you want to change it and you decide maybe you made a mistake, you can change it in here as well. Okay, so, but we're not going to change it because we're good. So I'm going to go quickly over this. It's a little bit complicated, but it is so useful. So I have to go over it. So A/B testing, it's a marketing term. And basically what it means is that we can take the same ad, same budget, same target, everything about it is the same. And let's change something really small about it. Or let's make the same ad 3 times and have 3 small little variations. So what's a small variation? Well, maybe you could do a different image. Same copy, same message, link everything, but maybe you try a different image. Or maybe you try the image in a different ratio. So you were doing a square. Maybe you try oblong, so 4 wide by 5 long. You know, like there's different ratios you can use. Now, you might be asking me, like, does that really make a difference? And the answer, the best answer is, I guess, I don't know. I don't know if that makes a difference. But that's why there's a tool like this, because this tool, it will allow you to measure variation A versus variation B with the one change, keep it 1, or you won't know. And it will tell you how to optimize, essentially. So it will tell you that the image that you use, or the post that you used with the smaller image, it had way less engagement. And then you can determine, oh, well, maybe it's not taking enough screen space up. It needs more real estate on people's phones. So this is a really useful tool. So all you do is you just create it and press next, and then in the next one, it will bring you into it. But like I said, you know, I will come back to that. Forgive me. because it's in a later step. So let me go back to this here. So I'm still on the main campaign page. So I click my A/B test down here, campaign budget optimization. So what this is this basically says that Facebook will automatically determine your ad budget based off of the results. So if I press on, campaign budget, so I can put what my daily budget is, and then Facebook will automatically determine where the best place is to put it and make sure that you never, ever, ever go over that daily budget. So I usually turn this on. It's just, it turns on a few more tools that are within Facebook that honestly, I don't even control, that just optimize your ad a little bit better. So that's the first page. Once we're here, we're going to put next down in the bottom corner. And now we're in the campaign. All right, so remember the campaign is the middle one. And I usually target my campaigns based off of my objective. That's how I usually do it. So I have like lead gen campaigns, I have awareness campaigns, I have website growth campaigns, like you get it, right? So this one's lead gen. We don't need to change the name or anything. Here, however, we can choose what form of lead gen we want. So this is really important because, as I mentioned earlier, customers have preference for how they like to contact you. So it's automatically set to instant forms, which is personally my favorite, but it's a little bit different for me because I'm a marketer on behalf of other people. So I can't necessarily pick up the phone and be like, Brent Stanley Real Estate, like I can't do that. But if you have the option, because you're your own business, you can put calls on here and people can directly call you. There's a call button that they can press and it will directly call you. So that's an option too. But in my experience, I find that the forms are the best. And I'm going to show you why. So we're going to click forms for now. So down here, this is only really important if you have multiple pages. Okay, as you can see, this client only has one page. Okay, so it's not an issue. But if you have multiple pages on your account, make sure that you click this and make sure it's selected to the account that you want to. I know some of you have side businesses. Rishi has a couple barbershops. So I mean, make sure that you're doing that correctly. Okay. Dynamic creative. I usually do not use this. It's a little bit too complicated for me. I won't lie. It gets into interior like graphic design. And so we're just going to skip over it for the sake of this and getting everything done easily. Okay. So budget and schedule. So this is really important. I talked to you about this earlier. So the schedule and the budget is where you determine how much you're going to pay and how long your ad's going to run for. Down here, you see set an end date. Okay. Please always set an end date until you become a pro at this and you know that you're good. You're checking it every day or other day. In the beginning, just set an end date. Because like I mentioned, the last thing that I want for any of you is to not set an end date, set your budget at like $10 a day and come back 2 months later and have a $2,400 bill, right? So set an end date. And when you do it, you'll see this little calendar pops up. Click it. And so we'll say this ad, I want to run it for, what day is it? Today's 18th. So I want to run it for a week. So I'm just going to drop down a week. And now, so I'll fix that in a second. So now you see March 25th, 2021. Now you'll notice up here, it says the start date is in the past. So this is something I run into all the time. All I do is if I'm making an ad, I just set this an hour ahead. Okay. And there you go. It's fixed. When you actually publish this ad, it's going to take Facebook a little bit of time to actually approve it because they have to check everything that you post to make sure you're not posting anything inappropriate, spammy, discriminatory, et cetera, et cetera. So don't worry about the start time. If you're like, I need this ad up now, that's not really how they work. Like when you create an ad, there's always going to be about 1 to 2 hours before it actually goes live. Just expect that. So let's keep moving down. All right. So this is where it gets even more important, is the audience in targeting. So as I mentioned, 8 months ago, you used to be able to target everything, but Facebook has since deemed that they don't particularly like real estate ads. So they've made it a little bit more difficult for you. However, people are still driving business off of Facebook. It hasn't slowed down. It hasn't. It's still a really great way of getting in front of people. So let's do this. So create new audience. So I'm going to click, sorry, wrong button, down here where it says locations. Okay. You notice when I scroll over it, there's an edit button that comes up here. So I'm just going to click edit. Now, Canada, you probably don't want to target all of Canada. If somebody calls you in BC, you're probably not going to be able to help them. So let's click on, let's actually just X that off, this box. And now it's showing me the map. Okay, so yep, I can target anywhere in the world. But for the sake of you, obviously, we're going to go Toronto. So type Toronto, you have the drop-down menu that comes up. So this is what happens when you do that. It's automatically going to drop it right in the middle of Toronto. Now, you see how half of this circle is in the water? Everyone sees that, right? You're not going to be targeting anyone when it's like this. Now, keep in mind, this is actually a potential and it can be a bad thing. And I'm going to explain both situations. So the main change that Facebook made in their targeting for real estate is that now you have to target a minimum area of 15 miles. Yep. So if I was to drag this in the middle of Toronto, that's the entire Toronto Central Core. So as you can imagine, if you're trying to target condo buyers in downtown and that's your market, you're going to have a really difficult time, or you're going to lose a lot of ROI by targeting all the people that, live in $3 million houses in Rosedale and, all these different neighborhoods. You might be losing out on ROI. So something that you can do, which is sneaky, and I've discovered, is I'm going to show you. See this here? It says drop a pin. So if you click this, it shows you this little button. See how there's a check mark? Now I can drop a pin anywhere, and it drops the 15-mile little radius like I talked about. Okay, but obviously I don't want to drop a pin up there. So if you look up here and I scroll over it, you'll notice a little X in the corner here. So just click that X and it gets rid of that pin. All right, and I can do the same thing with the Toronto and get rid of it. So I'm going to click my drop pin button again. And let's take the example of downtown condo buyers. That's my market. So I click drop pin. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click it in the water here. Now check this out. Look at what happened. It's not going to pick up anyone that's dropping in the water. Obviously, nobody lives in the middle of Lake Ontario. But if we zoom in, oh, look at the area I'm targeting, right? So this is a workaround that I've discovered that actually works really well. If you're looking at targeting specific areas, now it doesn't work for everything. For example, if you want to target, the York region, there's no way that you can do that because anywhere that you drop it, you're going to be getting the resounding neighborhoods. But there are opportunities like this. I'll show you another one really quickly. So obviously, when you get up into the more rural areas and you're outside of the big population dense centers of Toronto, you have more opportunity because you can drop pins up here. If sorry, give me a sec. There you go. So if I'm a new market agent, like I actually know quite a few agents that work in this little Tri-City area here. So this would be a perfect pin for targeting Bradford, Newmarket, Aurora, and there's a lot of other communities in here. So keep that in mind, like, especially if you're working in Barrie, Peterborough, like areas that have little group. Uxbridge, Stouffville is another really good one that I do for a couple clients. So those are the potentials. And hold on a second. So let's just get rid of one of these. Okay, so I got rid of the Toronto one. And for the sake of this ad, we're going to be targeting Bradford, Newmarket, Aurora. So let's say that we're happy with this targeting here. Okay, keep in mind on the left-hand side, you can see it tells you how many people you're targeting. Okay, and then this little meter here is actually really important. If it's ever in the red or it's over here too much, you need to redo your targeting because your targeting is going to be so specific that basically what Facebook is trying to tell you is that you're going to have to pay more for each impression. So our goal, of course, is to get the impressions that work at the cheapest price. So make sure you keep attention to this little speedometer over here because it will tell you, the size of your audience. And you always want to be going with an audience that's at least 60,000. Write this number down, 60,000. Okay. It's kind of the minimum number where you start to really fall off in terms of reach and price, 60,000. All right. And I've done ads all over Southern Ontario. There's very few 15-mile radiuses that I've found that are under that number. So it's not hard to achieve, but just keep that in mind. All right. So we've done this. We've selected our area, Newmarket, Bradford. Now let's go down here. Unfortunately, with the new change that's happened, we're going to have to ignore this. You cannot select age for special ad categories. It's part of the, we're just going to blanket it to everyone. However, Facebook, the computer again, will prioritize people that it thinks that wants to see your ads. And the computer is smart enough to know that most 18-year-olds aren't looking to buy homes. So when you go back to your analytics after and you look at specifically who was seeing your ads, you will see that, you know, that area is going to be 18 to like 28. That demographic is going to be very small in comparison. So just for your knowledge, gender, again, they won't allow you to target gender. They consider it to be discriminatory. And then detailed targeting. So detailed targeting is where you can target basically interests. It says interests and behaviors, but you can target interests and professions. I'm going to start by saying I don't think it's a good idea. And the reason why goes back to any time that you create more things that Facebook has to sort your ad by, you're going to be lowering the return on investment for your actual ad. So in this case, I mean, I don't like the word blanket strategy, but in this case, that type of thing is actually going to be more beneficial to you. The number of people that see your ad that aren't relevant are going to pale in comparison to the number of people that won't see your ad if you select like all these specific stuff for who sees my ad. So to show you what I'm talking about, I'm just going to show you, but here I can type. Okay, so all over the place. Give me a second. Okay, so as you see, I typed interests, and there's all sorts of things that we can sort by. You know, medical science, digital marketing. A lot of it's profession based. So if you do want to do it, I mean, like, you can, but keep in mind, one last time I'll say it, keep in mind that you'll pay more money per person that sees your ad. All right, so keep moving down. So everything's important. So I'm going to stop saying this is really important, but this determines where your ad is going to actually physically show up, the placement section on users' Instagram and Facebook. And it's important because different areas get different engagement. So if you think about it, if you have a new listing or you have like a really long video, for example, and you put it in the stories, everyone knows what a story is. A story is the 24-hour memories, the little circles in Instagram and Facebook that disappear after 24 hours and they're really personal. Well, if you put a 2-minute listing video, like your ad, in a story, it's like, think about the user behavior of people that are normally in stories. They're swiping, they're going, they don't stop. 15 seconds is the limit, right? So it actually doesn't make sense to put long informational ads, things that people need to stop and read or stop and watch. It does not make sense to put them in stories because they will charge you. Facebook will charge you for people that see it, but your return on it is going to be abysmally low because people just don't stop in stories because they're swiping, they're on to the next one, on to the next one. So in relation to that though, the feed is going to be where you're really going to get that response. Sorry, I have to let some people into the call. So your feed is where you're going to get that response. So let me show you. So I always click manual placements, and then this is going to show up. So Facebook and Instagram, always, please take my advice, market on both. And the reason why is because you're going to be reaching different audiences. Even if you think that you know that the main audience that you want is on Facebook, people are on Facebook and Instagram for different reasons, looking for different things. And it allows you to expose it into 2 different networks. So it's smart marketing. It also lowers your cost per reach because think about it. If you have a second platform to advertise on, you're doubling your usable population, this number down here, right? If I was to click off Instagram, this number would shrink. So it's smart. Always make sure that it's connected. And then I don't do audience network. I don't do messenger. Me personally, I hate it when I get ads in my messenger. I don't know about you guys, but I don't go to my messenger. Like that's just not an area that I'm used to or I expect to get ads in. And they have very low impact on me when they do go in. And I feel like most people kind of have that mentality towards it. So I never have messenger selected. All right, so let's go down here. So feeds, stories, I'm going to click off. Feeds, yes. In stream, yeah, I'm going to click that one off too, because when people are in stream, it's again, they're watching videos. They're there for a reason that's usually pretty specific. What we want to do is when they're in their exploring mode. And the exploring mode is what happens on the feed. When people are bored or they're looking through, this is where it has the highest engagement. So always make sure that this is checked. Okay, search, yes. So the reason why search is good is because as people search certain things on Facebook, more so Facebook than Instagram, but it happens on Insta too. Okay, what will happen is if they're searching for something that's relative to what your ad is, your ad will show up in the search engine results. Kind of like how Google AdWords works, but it's cheaper to do it this way. So it's a good idea because it allows you to pair up your ad with people that are actually searching for this type of relevant information. So make sure that, make sure search is clicked. Okay. Messages. Nope, I already talked about that. So in article, again, I don't think that this is a great idea. And the reason why is when people are reading articles, they're usually already engaged in something long. And if you're going to be creating an ad, remember your ad's not going to say, use me to buy real estate. Like it's going to be talking about something, right? Like you're going to want to pique someone's interest and make them stop and read or listen and watch what you have to say, right? So again, when people are in article, they're usually consumed, they're doing something, they're reading a long article. Putting an ad in there, I found is just going to annoy them. So we usually don't do that. And then apps and sites, I don't do this for another reason. It's because they're external and they're hard to track. So on top of that, all of the evidence that I've looked on shows that the return on it is not as good. So these four, that's what you got to know. These four. So feeds, in stream, search, in article. Okay. Let's move on. Do not worry about this. This is something I'd never use. It has to do with bid strategy, but it's a more expensive way to basically do your ads. And unless you're an expert on pay-per-click marketing, I'm not even going to bother trying to confuse you on this. So let's just go over this page again. So we have it titled. We've selected an instant form lead method. We have the account that we want to post to. Okay, we have the start date, the end date. We've selected our audience. Okay, and oh, I went over something. So right here, people living in or recently in this location. This is important because if I click only people living in this location, I might be canceling out all the people that work in this area and commute who might be looking to move closer to work or move away from work. Or there's lots of different scenarios. So make sure that you have people living in or recently in this location, because chances are if somebody's in Vaughan or somebody's up in Bracebridge or something like that, I mean, there's a chance that they either work there or they live there or they have some relationship to that geographic area, right? So it's really smart to do this. All right, let me continue my recap. So I did my, we're looking at somewhere strange. There we go. So I did my, my drop. So again, I'm targeting for this ad, Bracebridge, Newmarket, Aurora, that little area up there. Okay, age, you can't change it. Gender, you can't change it. Detailed targeting, I recommend that you do not use it. And then the manual placements, which I talked about. So feeds, in-stream, search, in article. All right, just wanted to recap that. Let's click next in the bottom right. Okay, so now that we're here, this is your ad page. This is where we're actually going to create the ad. Okay, so let's just go from this top down like we do. So same thing, it's going to just confirm that you want to post through that Instagram account. Okay, and here, when I click this, So this is where I'm going to have the option to boost it, create an ad. Don't worry about Creative Hub Mockup. It's something that's confusing. We're not going to get into it today. Now notice that use existing post is grayed out. I cannot click it. If you remember earlier, I was saying that when you do a lead generation, you can't do a boosted post. So this is where you go if you ever want to boost a post, but it cannot be in this area here. Sorry, I went back to the campaign. Okay, the target for the campaign cannot be lead generation, or like it won't let you boost the post for that. Just keep that in mind. So let's go back to the ad. Up at the top, I'm just using this to navigate between. All right, so here we are. So we're in Brent's account. So ad setup. So I showed you that. So let's go create an ad. And now it's going to give you an option. So we can do a single image or video. Now keep in mind, we can do one image, we can do a video, we can create a slideshow, okay? Or we can do a carousel. So a carousel is when you have side-by-side images that you can swipe through. Okay, my opinion is that swipe for them. So if you want to do something like that, click this one and we'll build a slideshow. It makes so much more sense, because the other thing too is with ads, you want stop-worthy content, right? I talk about it all the time, but video is the best way. Like movement, colors, music paired with it is a really good way that we can, catch their attention as they're scrolling down, because that's what we're trying to do. And an image, it just doesn't do it in the same way, right? Movements, right? Our brain is trained to recognize it, right? So with that, single image or video, and I'm going to go down here. So keep in mind, when you create an ad, it's always going to try and create it as a base for your Facebook page. Okay, so basically just a general ad talking about your Facebook page, come follow me, like me. I'll let you know, in my experience, these ads do nothing. They don't really do anything. There's no call to action. There's nothing unique or individualistic about it. They're boring ads that there's a dime a dozen of. So what we're going to do is see here where it says add creative. It's going to show me the current media that I have loaded, which is this picture right here. So I'm just going to click clear all right here, and it's going to take that away. So now blank template, I can add and remove whatever I want. So I'm going to do both of them really quickly. I know we're getting long here. So here, if I click add media, you can add an image or add a video. When I click on it, it will go into my Facebook area where I've previously uploaded all of my stuff before. But say that it's something new and it's on your computer, all you have to do is press this upload button right here, and it's going to open up your computer. Okay, let's just use this, sure. Wrong branding, but you get the point. So I add this in, and then I'm going to click it and click next. All right, this here is where I was talking about. So depending on the image that you have, okay, you can actually change around the feed. Okay, and so what you notice is when I click horizontal, look here, the image gets cut off. Even when I crop it, I can't crop it properly. So that's not going to be a viable option for this. Now, keep in mind, a lot of material that you have, you'll be able to do this with, okay? But screen real estate, like the amount of space on your screen that that post is taking up, is really important and is directly related to how many people are going to engage with your post. So I usually try and I don't usually ever do the horizontal, but I do the square, because on a phone, your square will take up about that much of the phone, right? So it's impossible to miss whatever the messages that you're saying as users are scrolling through. So we'll click this, done. And now over here, look at what happened. In our previews of the ad, it's going to show you how an actual user will see the ad show up. Now, yes, I'm well aware that I'm using the wrong branding for a different agent, but for the sake of time and whatever, I just wanted to put something up to show you how it was looking. Okay, so that's one option if you want to do a single image. If you want to do a video, it's the same way. So I'm going to clear all. I'm not going to upload a video, but you just press this, you go into your thing here, and you just upload the video the same way that you would the other one. Okay, so now slideshow. I want to show you slideshow. So while single image or video is selected, we're going to go down here to the media. This is where you create everything, and click create slideshow. Now check out what happens here. So Facebook has really cool tools that allow you to create all sorts of different branded slideshows. And it's drag and drop. You don't need to be a graphic designer. You just have to have a couple images that you like, and you can move them around how you like it. So let's do this one, for example. Actually, I'm going to start with the most simple one, which is the basic slideshow. Up top, you say create slideshow 3 to 10 images. So just click this little button. It's selected. Now we're going to press, oops, my Zoom call is getting in the way. We're going to press continue down the bottom. Okay, so here is where we're going to add our photos and our videos. So over, you see this, add photos, same thing. It brings you into this window of all the stuff that you've ever uploaded to your business account. Now, most of you will have nothing here. Keep that in mind. But as you start advertising, you're going to have all of your media here that you can recycle, you can reuse it, which is a good idea because it builds familiarity, right? So let's just, okay. So as you see, when I select stuff, it's keeping it selected. See down here, this is showing me the slideshow that I'm building. Now, of course, I'm just selecting random images, okay? And here we go. So our slideshow, it shows you the images that you have right here. It allows you to change the time. So let's play it. So watch this. So imagine this was a listing property and we're going through all the images, but you decide that that's a little bit quick. So we're going to go 2 seconds per, and we're also going to change the transition. So this one had no transition, which I personally think is a little bit choppy. You know, transition is the time between one image to the next image, right? But when we put a fade on, look at what happens. It's a lot smoother, okay? And again, imagine that the branding is continuous and then you're telling a story, right? And that's what we're trying to do. So let's say, oh, you know what? I think that this image right here, I want it to be the front of my slideshow. No problem. Drag and drop. Now your slideshow has a new cover, you know, and you can arrange it however you want. If you decide that you don't want it, you don't want this particular image, you'll see a little X in the top corner. You just click the X and the image is out. If you want to re-add it, click the plus button here, okay? And you can reselect the image, add it in. So let's say that this is the slideshow that I'm very happy with. We're going to go create. Almost done here, guys. 5 more minutes. Okay, so while this is loading, actually, we don't need to wait for it, because now what we can do is we can write our text. So I like to use a program called lingojam.com. And so I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but Facebook and Instagram usually won't allow you to put bold and special characters and stuff in their copy. But we all know that bold and special characters is a good way to stand out. So I use a program like this and I type new listing. Give me a second. All right. So it's hard because all the Zoom stuff's in front of my screen. All right. So capitalizing title is really important. All right, so I've typed in here just something generic so you can kind of see how I create my ads. But let's imagine that we're doing a listing property. So new listing, perfect for young families. Okay, now if I go over to this side, I can scroll, and obviously a lot of these you probably don't want to use, but there's lots of cool stuff that's good ways that you can kind of stand out. So I'm just going to go with the normal bold. So I'm going to select it. Now you can right click and you can copy, or for me, I just press Command C because I'm on a Mac. Now I go back to my ad, right click in the box and press paste. Now look at what happens over here. So as I populate this, the ad will be populated as well. So this is really important because it allows you to see what people will see when you're actually creating this ad. All right, so really, really important because the way that the information flows, the emojis you use, the language you use, all of that's going to determine whether people are going to swipe right past you or if they're going to stop and they're going to listen what you have to say. So I wanted to take an extra moment to outline this because yeah, it's good marketing and there's not really like too much time that you can spend on this. If you're like, oh, I've been writing this copy for half an hour, good. Do it until you're perfectly comfortable and you think that it's great, because this is an ad that we can now run for a month, 2 months, 3 months, an entire business quarter, you know, and you can run it and you can set your budget and keep going with it. So let me go back here. Headline. All right, so what I did is I'm creating a call to action here. All right, this sign up button here is what people will click to enter into your lead generation. Okay, so something actionable. Again, I'm going to do this because it makes a huge difference. I think my computer might have frozen. All right, so bold text. We're also going to add an emoji. You know, you can do something like that. So it's pointing over there to the little sign up button. Okay, and in here, in this copy, I made it super short, but this is where you can really talk about who you are and what you're bringing to the table. Make sure that you add something actionable in here. So don't wait to contact me, or, you know, for more information on your specific neighborhood, you know, or to get a custom plan that's tailored to you, some type of action, you know, contact me. You know, if you don't put an action in there, then you're not prompting anyone to do anything and they're just going to be reading the ad, and the amount of people that will contact you will be significantly lower. So make sure that you put an action, one action. Don't put many actions because then it looks very selly. And then let's go down here. So you don't need to worry about this description at all. And display links. So this is where you have the option to put in a display link to your website. So www. Okay, and as you see, it's going to show up right there. Okay, so again, it's good marketing to get your branding out there. Bum, 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 bum. All right, next one. So call to action, this button right here, if sign up is maybe sign up is a little bit too selly for you or your brand, well, we can change that button around so many different ways. I personally prefer learn more, because learn more, it's not insinuating that you're going to get someone to fill out a form or anything like that. And that's technically what they want to do, is they want to learn more, right? So this is usually the button that I use, but make no mistake, when they click on this, it's still going to go into the lead generation form, which we'll talk about right now really quickly. All right, and then that's the last thing. Okay, so as I continue to scroll down, you'll see there's a section here that says instant form. So this part's actually pretty easy, but you can have a lot of fun with it if you want to get really intricate. Let's click on it. So forms for credit, employing or housing ads, just reminding you this category that you're in. So this is the lead form, and you get to literally build it yourself. You get to say what you're searching for. So if you just want volume, you just want as many leads as possible, and you have the time to go and hunt them all down, click volume. If this is something that's kind of like a side hustle, or this isn't maybe the main area of your business or something, you can put higher intent and you will get a slightly higher percentage of people that, you know, are serious about it. But keep in mind, it's slightly higher and the number of leads you get will be a lot lower. So there's a trade-off. Everything in Facebook, whenever you select something, there's always a trade-off for something else. So just keep that in mind. So let's click intro here. All right. So intro, you can upload a background image if you want. You can upload an image of yourself. All right, let's go in intro. Buy or sell, or all right, hold on. Step into this amazing family home in Lawrence Park. All right, so you want to do a headline. I'm making a listing ad for a fake listing that we're doing in Lawrence Park. So I talk about the headlines. So make sure that the person that clicks on it, we're keeping them here with the subject that they clicked on. All right. And then you can also add a little brief description. Brief, emphasis on brief. Anytime that you're creating work for someone, you're creating more options, anything like that, you will be lowering your return on your investment. The less that you ask someone to do, the higher number of leads that you will get. It's a general rule. So with this too, if I'm asking someone to read my entire story about why I became a real estate agent and why I'm good for them, maybe that's something that you can put part of, maybe not all of, but part of in the actual ad copy. If somebody clicked here, you can assume that they're already interested. So just use this to reconfirm why they're here. Briefly, you could talk about a couple features about the listing, okay? But keep it short. And then here's the bread and butter. So you actually get to choose your own questions. So let's do this here. All right, so the first one is going to be contact information, and always leave this. Now, it's important to know that people that come into this will automatically be prompted, like it will automatically fill in the information, which is good. So they don't have to physically type it in. Okay. And then okay. So here, this button here allows you to add a question. So you can multiple choice, short answer, conditional. So multiple choice is obviously you ask, you can say, how long have you been looking to buy a house? 3 years, 2 years, under a year, something like that, right? A short answer could be, what area are you currently living in? Okay, so let's do short area. What area are you currently living in? Okay, so as you see, same thing. It's going to autofill over here as you type it. So you can see how the customer is going to see it, essentially. So if that's good and we're happy, we can add another question. So let's do a multiple choice. What is your potential price range? Okay, now keep in mind, you are the real estate agents. I'm a marketer. So, I mean, we do deal in the same industry quite a bit, but you probably have a much better idea about the types of questions that you should be asking people that are going to help indicate to you what you need to do for them. Because this serves two purposes. The first one is to show them that you care, right? That you're asking questions. Asking good questions is good in any business, but it's also so that you can get background information so that when you follow up on the lead, it's a warm follow-up. You're not following up super cold, because you know who they are, where they live, what they're looking for, what their price bracket is. So those are all things that you can research. And when you pick up the phone or you send them an email, it's not, hey, John, Alex here, I got your lead. What's up? How can I help? You show up ready to go with answers, right? So these questions are very good. Keep in mind, the more that you ask, the less leads that you'll get, the less people that will fill it out, because they'll be like, oh, this seems like work, and they'll move on. So you kind of have to play around with it. My magic number is 3. I usually don't ask more than 3 questions. So I make sure that the ones that I'm asking are really relevant, and they're based off of the client and what the client wants. But usually location or location to buy, price range is a big one that I ask a lot. Sometimes you can even ask, how did you hear about me?
Pay out to the
Right?
other brokerages.
So anyways, so let's say that we are done this. Down here, you always have to add a privacy disclaimer. So what I did was I actually just went to the Zolo website.
Filter the brush 30%.
I press Zoho. Wow. Why is it doing that? Sorry, guys, give me a second. Third time's a charm. Okay, so when you come here, literally all I do is I go up to the URL up top, same thing, select it, right click, copy or control C.
Nah.
And I go back over here and I just paste the link in, okay? You have to have a privacy policy when you're doing lead.
No, super.
It won't let you do it. So
Super.
just keep this in mind. If maybe you need to talk to Kevin or Jane about what that privacy policy looks like, then by all means, because it might be brokerage related. All right, and that's it. I mean, you don't need to do a disclaimer. You don't need to do the custom link text. Press submit. So let's just check all of our. My page is freezing. Okay, so hold on. So my page is frozen, which actually it comes up to the last point that I'm gonna make, and then I'll let you all get back to your days. But I really recommend in terms of web browsers that you do not use Safari when you're doing ads. I don't know why, I just have always had trouble with it. And I know a lot of other people that have trouble. Use Chrome, use Chrome. I didn't use Chrome for the purpose of this presentation because I'm in a bunch of people's personal accounts and stuff that I couldn't show. But this is the type of issue. You'll get just page freezes all the time. So if you don't know how to download Chrome, you literally just go to Google, download Google Chrome. And it's the first one. You just click it, follow the instructions, and it's pretty straightforward. So the final thing that you need to know is when you have done that, let me go back into the ad. When you have done that and everything is good, then you click publish down here. All right, creating the lead form is the last step that I showed you. Click publish. Now I'm going to get an error because I canceled my lead form, but it's going to say 3 of 3. And then right here, it's going to say your items were successfully published. Okay. It's going to pop up this page, which is just a recap of what you did for the setup. I usually close it. Close this up here, up in the top left, this X. And it brings you back to full circle where we started. So what it will say is it will say in review. If you did everything that I just instructed to you, right here, it will say in review. It's saying setup error because you see the form didn't get completed. So don't worry about that. And this is the point where literally you just wait. You wait half an hour to an hour. Sometimes it's a bit longer if you do it at night. And Facebook is now checking the ad. They're making sure that it's good. And they're making sure that basically you're not offending anyone. When they approve it, the ad will be live. And I'm going to show you what that looks like really, really quickly. And then we're all done. Okay, so. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so this is what an actual ad account would look like. All right, an ad account that is being used and is being run properly. So as you can see, I have one main campaign that I do for this account, which is listing campaigns. Okay, when I go over to my ad set, let's turn these off. I have the one ad set, so hold on, watch what happens. So make sure that you have this selected. I made that mistake. Have it selected. So when I go into my ad sets, I see the 3 different ad sets that I have personally created for this client. And when I go over to here, let's put that, thank you. When I go over to here, I can see all the active ads that I have running. So let's click on one for a second. So I want to show you the real example of what it all looks like. So in this case here, I am boosting this post because I want high reach and I want engagement because it's going to back end into my organic. But let's take a look. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, so let's go into analytics here. Okay, so this is what I wanted to talk to you about. So all of my ads are into a 7-day click. So I have them geared towards multiple impressions. Okay, and if we look, it's not really working. So in this case, this is good because it will tell me that something's wrong with my targeting. When your impressions are so close to your reach like this, it means that something is wrong with your targeting and you have to go in. And all I literally have to do is go back into this ad, press edit. The middle one is targeting, the ad set, remember? And I just have to redo my targeting and it will fix it. Okay, so I wanted to show you that because that's sometimes something that will happen when you're running multiple ads under the same ad set. Don't worry about it. Just go back in and you're good. So as you can see here, we've spent $61 in the last month on this. We've spent more, but on this specific ad, this campaign, we spent 61 bucks and we've gotten 62,000 almost impressions. So you can do the math, but it does the math for you, $1.32 for every 1,000 people that saw your ad. So as you can imagine, if you're trying to get your name out there and you think that you have something good to say, which I know that a lot of you do, then do a reach ad. This is a reach ad. It will tell you what you're targeting under the results. Okay. And throw it out there in Toronto and get these numbers. I spent 60 bucks and I targeted 60,000 people. I mean, like, it doesn't get much better than that. And it will become more expensive as time goes on. It just naturally will, just the way it works. So if you're thinking about it, I would say now's the time. And I hope that I have given you enough to get started with it. So I think that's pretty much the conclusion of our little webinar here. Let me just stop sharing my screen. Okay. So I just wanted to, I know that we've gone a little bit over, but as I mentioned, and as many of you have seen, it gets quite complicated when you get into ads. I had enough time to go over one type of ad with you. As you saw, there's about 8 different ones that are actually viable for real estate that serve different purposes. So, you know, if you're interested, or if you're interested in having someone actually create the ads for you, Sidekicks does that. We will create you a 25-second video ad completely tailored to you and your brand with your logos, with your branding, and it's about 200 bucks. So if that's ever something that you're interested in, I thought that I would just throw that in there at the end. But keep in mind, you can totally do this yourself with Canva, which I showed you last week. And it's honestly, it's just as good. So it's more about a convenience factor if you really just want to get that prestige professionalism. All right, let me just read the messages. Okay. Just asking really quickly. So our social media management is 600 bucks a month. And that's like 5 posts a week, but we take care of ads for you. We don't pay for your ad budget, but we will take care. We'll do all of your ads for you, as many as you want to run, whatever budget you want to run. And then we also cover the organic growth of the pages. We, you know, get leads in through it. We engage with people and we grow your brand on Facebook and Instagram. But if that's too hefty a price, which it is for a lot of people, I understand, then we have a specific ad management service where I'll do everything that I just said. I'll manage the ads for you. I'll put leads into your inbox, and we charge 200 bucks a month plus whatever it costs to create the ads, which is the previous price that I told you. So I hope that answers your question. And if anyone ever has any questions, like, let me put this here, alex@sidekicks.ca. I've already talked with quite a few of you from our seminar last week. I talked with Naz and Zane and a bunch of other people. So I mean it, like, even if you just want some advice, please, please, please send me an email. I'm more than happy to give you advice. I won't try and sell you, I promise. So, all right. Any more questions from anybody? You can either unmute your mic and you can ask the
Sorry,
question.
I couldn't get your name and phone number there.
Oh, yeah, I typed it into a direct message. I'm sorry, let me put it here. Yeah, so it's just alex@sidekicks.ca, and my number is this. Yep. So I believe, Mayman, I believe Jane will take care of the sending of the recording and all that. I do recommend that maybe when you go into this, you watch it back because it might be useful, especially in some of the more technical parts, to make sure that you're just following along. Okay, so any more questions? Last chance, we'll open the floor for anyone that wants to speak. Did I miss anyone's questions? No. All right, everyone, have a wonderful weekend. I really hope that you got some good takeaways.
One question only, the website you type in the beginning, and what was the name of the website?
Of which website?
The first time when you
Yeah.
opened it, the first one.
So here, I'll show you.
Thank you.
So I usually Google. So I do that, right? I find that the website, if you go directly to the website, it brings you into the business suite, which is, it's just more complicated. And I didn't want to add steps. So that's why I told you this way. But for anyone that's curious, if you go into business.facebook, it will go into your business manager for your account. And then on the left-hand side, you just click on ads, and it's pretty clear. There will be a button that said, go to your ads manager. It's just a little bit more complicated.
Thank you. It was a great webinar. Thanks for everything.
No problem, Ness. Hope you're well. All right, everybody. That's me. I'm going to take off, but I hope everyone learned lots, and please reach out.
Hi, Alex.
Hey.
This is Hemant here. I have a very quick question.
Yeah.
Can you work for our website as well? Like if we have the website like template based?
I don't, unfortunately. So, I mean, our company we do graphic design, and we do pair up with designers to create you branded content that and just branding in general that fits you. But to my knowledge, I do not believe that we actually build the websites. I definitely don't.
But like these days, like Wix and all those platform based website, we can create ourselves, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And then, you would maybe talk to Hamid at Sidekicks about maybe creating you custom stuff that he can send you that you just plug into the site, right? And he would talk to you about pricing and stuff like that.
So do you recommend anyone, like any number or, like any person who do that? I mean, at reasonable price?
Yeah, I do. I have a couple of people. Why don't you drop your email in the chat, or tell me what your email is, or send me an email, and I'll get back to you about that privately. Yeah. But I do have some people I can send your way if you're looking.
Okay.
All right. Thanks so much. Great question.
Yeah, I have I wrote my email address.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Alex.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you for listening. All right. So if there is anybody else, nobody else. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.